Hello and welcome to the 27th and very belated Randomer Nintendo. I am Jason and I am joined by my two co-hosts through the power of the internet. We have Angel.
Angel.
Okay, there's a bit of an echo. Great. And we have Kevin.
We have Kevin.
And if you guys thought I talked a lot in a standard episode podcast, wait until all you hear is me and people repeating back what I said. It's going to be a great show. No, but seriously, it has been a while. How are you guys doing?
It's going to be a great show.
See? There you go. It's going to be a great show. That's all you need. I'm curious how long this will go for. I'm just going to say random things and see. Like, I don't know. I had pizza for dinner.
You
I
took
had
advantage
pizza
of
for
the
dinner.
50% off?
Okay, Angel broke first. Kevin, good job committing to the bit. Angel, gotta work on it. The echo that you apparently were doing.
I wasn't doing no echo.
Well, anyway, how are you guys doing?
Also doesn't help that I did actually have pizza for dinner today. So.
Oh.
Domino's has this like promotion where it's essentially a buy one get one free, but the free one you can redeem anywhere between now and like next February.
What? That's actually a really good deal.
And they call it an emergency pizza.
That's an amazing marketing. Domino's are the best at like gimmicky marketing. Like you can order Domino's from an app in your car if you want, which like at that point you could use your phone or you could just go to Domino's. But the gimmick is strong, so they do it. You can drop a pin and they'll bring you a pizza on the beach.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. They did a whole ad campaign around it. Yep. Yeah. And we're not paid by Domino's, but really we should be because that was like a solid minute of just praising Domino's.
Yeah, I mean, well, I had Pizza Hut for dinner, so it's not like...
Did you have the Ninja
I thought you guys
Turtle
were
one?
making a pizza, not buying a pizza.
I made pizza.
We also had... Well, I think, yeah, that was Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Blue
think
Apron
we've made a pizza
pizza.
here in forever. And I don't even think we really made it. I think it was just DiGiorno. Is that the...
It's not delivery.
Yeah,
It's
that
DiGiorno. Yeah, no, Kevin, I was the one who, for a little inside track, everyone, we were supposed to start recording 30 minutes prior to when we did, but then my pizza was taking too long. So,
Yep.
Jason
ruined...
I ruined everything.
the flow.
Yeah, but it was a Blue Apron pizza. So they give you the dough, and then you just make the sauce and put it on the dough, and then you put the thing in the oven, and yeah.
And it's a New York aficionado.
It was not a New York style
the
pizza.
beer.
No, it was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was almost like it was, first of all, it was square because it was in a square pan.
Just a Sicilian pizza?
A little, but it was a little doughier than a New York. Like it wasn't a thin pizza. It was more doughy. It also was like kind of a bake in a way, even though it was a pizza. Like kind of like a pasta bake vibe to it. Riveting pocket. We haven't been on in a month, almost exactly a month. And the first thing we do for our listeners when we come back is have me awkwardly and poorly describe a half do-it-yourself pizza. If people thought they missed us,
What
I
was
guarantee
the
they
yum to buck
didn't.
ratio on that pizza?
Well, Blue Apron is like 4 portions with fresh ingredients for like 50. So it's an okay yum to buck. I mean, part of it is also
$50 for however big that pizza was?
Well, no, 50 for 4 portions of food, 2 meals, all ingredients covered and correctly portioned out. So, and if you act now using promo code, no,
Or
I
if
wish I
it-
had a promo
like, what
code.
is 50? Like, is that over this? Like, do you get that amount of food per delivery, or is
For
it like
$50, the equivalent to, actually, I don't know if it's $50 a week or every 2 weeks, but every week a box shows up with 2 meals with 2 servings of various types of dishes. So this one
Wait.
had Yeah.
One more time. For $50 a month, you get 2 meals?
No. I think it's, I don't think it's monthly, but no, you get 2 meals
some
that
subscription,
have
right?
2, it's a subscription, 2 meals that have 2 servings. So 4 meals.
For
all fresh ingredients
$50?
all fresh ingredients delivered
For
weekly.
$50?
That number can't be right. No, that number is right. Is that number right?
You
yeah, it
get
might
4
be.
meals a month for $50?
No, it's a week. It's a week.
Oh, that's still. Oh, so that's what, 8? That's 8 meals? A month?
No, it's 50.
16 meals a month?
No. But I don't think you pay monthly. I don't remember what the month. I don't remember if the 50 is
what the hell
bi-weekly
is
or
the
monthly.
breakdown?
I wasn't prepared for this. No one said I was going to be pitching Blue Apron to the audience.
Don't bring it up if you're not ready with the facts, dog.
I was just telling you I made a pizza. I was expecting to get the
Are you telling all we're getting from this is that you just blindly pay for it?
Correct.
Not even knowing if it's a good deal or not.
Correct. Because we did for a long time have it covered not by us, and then it switched over to us paying it. I don't remember the breakdown. Account sayings. I'm doing this live. All right, let's see. The price is 2 meals, 2 servings each.
Hold on, I gotta write this down. 2 meals.
Okay, so 4 things.
2 servings.
Oh, that's cool. It says nothing about the price on this screen.
Okay, well then one of the easiest
I'll have to get back
be...
to you guys at some point.
You get charged
meals, 2
every
servings.
X amount of time.
Yeah, but I don't pay
and
that
in
much
that amount of
attention.
time.
But you're getting a week's worth of food, right?
I'm getting 4 meals
A week or a day?
week.
That is. I'm just gonna be quiet.
It's all fresh and pre-portioned.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused, but
And it
You
comes
know
with the
how
pizza's
much
the
money
weak
you
one.
could
We had
probably
steak. The other
save
dish
if
was
you just did it
steak.
yourself.
Yeah, but then I don't know how to do it
Wow.
because I'm a baby. I didn't know how to cook until Blue Apron.
Gotcha. How did you learn to cook with Blue Apron?
They portioned everything, and I just followed the recipe. It's the portions that are good.
Right.
Oh,
right.
wait, you're about to
You know
blow my
they
mind.
have
What if I
recipes.
portion other things by hand? Whoa.
Or what if? Yeah, not only that, but you could also probably go, I don't know, on the internet and see recipes for meals the same way that Blue
Yeah, but the
Apron's giving
difference
you.
is everything's measured here and sourced and stuff. Like I don't have to go shop for it. It's all here.
God forbid you separate
know.
stuff by hand.
No, not me. I need some person somewhere
Whatever,
else to put it in a
I'm not gonna
box.
tell you how to spend your money, but that,
No, it's
for $50 a week, I'm expecting at least
it
just
might
give
be
me a meal a
$50
day.
every 2 weeks. I'm not sure.
$50 every 2 weeks.
I'm
so
not
$100 a month.
I'm not sure. But all I know,
I thought you said it was 60.
That's like a gym subscription just right there. Like a monthly
right? But in the
gym
other
subscription.
direction, it's a gym going in reverse. You're adding food to you instead of working food off you. So, I'm literally going to my credit card right now and looking at how frequently I see it listed on here, because that's the type of podcast we have today. So I was charged October 4th, and then I was charged September
How much were you
29th. So it's
charged October
weekly.
4th?
So it's weekly. It's actually 60. It turns out.
Weekly?
It looks like it's weekly. It looks like it's 60. So
Oh,
we're
man.
paying about 12. Are we paying? Yeah, like 12.
You're paying
no.
$2,400 a month.
What? Where did you get that math?
240.
240. There we go. I had an extra zero.
It's like, what? So per
That's some
serving,
people's eating
it's
out
15.
budget for the month.
It's per serving $15, which is cheaper than a restaurant these days, but it's not cheap. You are correct.
Yeah, that's not cheap at all.
Yeah, but that's only 4 meals out of the week, so it's not like all of mine is going to it. Anyway, enough about me and my meals.
Well, would you say
$4.
it's
That's so
restaurant quality
insane.
food then?
What? Wait, there's a lot of things
I
happening.
mean, I
there.
guess if you would say it's restaurant quality food, then I guess.
Well,
it's
it's as
worth it if you
restaurant quality
really
as
need to
my
have that.
cooking can get it to be, but like we had steak yesterday from it. That was pretty good. Yeah. So steak and
Well, I
potatoes
imagine
and
it
Brussels
doesn't-
sprouts. So in
I
a
imagine they keep
soy
the meal
brown sugar
entertaining.
sauce with Parmesan and truffle butter on the potatoes. So yeah.
Yeah.
What a riveting. Enough about what I eat. What do you eat? Let's get this off me. What's going on? Like let's change topic here.
Unfortunately, I don't have anything recent that I could
Eat?
really mention. That I mean, I mentioned I had Domino's.
True.
I mean, not Domino's.
Kevin, what have you been
Pizza Hut.
eating? What have you been What has been entering your body?
Alcohol mainly. I was at a wedding this past weekend, and there's a lot of alcohol involved. They did have a really good steak, so that was pretty good.
I bet you it was better than my $15 Blue Apron steak. Yeah.
Maybe.
Probably.
It was like
I hope.
it was like on this bed of quinoa that was like really really good. I
Oh.
really like quinoa. Like I need to start maybe cooking that for myself now.
Yeah, quinoa's actually power grains in general I've come around on in the last few years. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Well, quinoa is one of them, so.
no, I know, but I didn't know that they were coming back.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, anyway, I'm doing a horrible job hosting, so I'm just going to point out, because I kind of alluded to it, we haven't had one of these podcasts in a long time during a time when a lot happened. Like, I feel like the episode...
What?
we haven't had one of these podcasts in a long time, and during that time, a lot happened. I'm speaking in riddles. Listen, if you're not... I'm going to tell you prices of Blue Apron in riddles. I'm going to tell you podcast topics in riddles. I'm a regular old Dr. Seuss.
Going over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, right?
In riddles, though. Yes.
In riddles, then.
In riddles, yes. We're going to cover that in riddles. We're going to cover the latest with Ukraine in riddles.
Did you manage to get the interview with Riddles, the professional Smash player?
No, because that would be too clear-cut. Has to be a riddle. No, but what I was starting to say is, like, I feel like last episode... we were like, oh, there's so much that's about to happen. And then we like ghosted everyone for like a month. And now we're coming back like, boy, a lot sure did happen. But I feel like a lot did happen.
In retrospect, I got nothing. I was going to say.
I thought you had something
actually
there.
kind of chill. A lot did happen, but it just happened all at once that it almost kind of felt like it just came and went. And I was like, oh, that's right. We did have a Nintendo Direct.
And an Apple event, 2 days apart.
I'm going to be very curious what we will revisit for the direct presentation, because just out of curiosity, I didn't recheck what was announced during the direct.
So you want to see what is still in your memory a month later, essentially?
Yeah, because like, honestly, the only thing I remember off the top of my head is Paper Mario.
Yeah.
And there was...
I would hope you remember F-Zero 99 because it's literally written on our topic list. So
not only did I forget it was announced during that time, it was also a game I have either.
Sorry for interject. I got super spooked right now. I thought that I was hearing the Exorcist theme song, but I took out my headphones and it's just the ice cream man passing by.
It's not viral marketing for the new Exorcist
I thought
movie.
Like maybe that there was like a hidden webpage that I had somewhere that was playing the Exorcist theme song. Nope, just the ice cream man. Woo.
It's amazing to me. Speaking of things that have happened in our time off, so Taylor Swift announced that she's doing a movie of her concert, which like movie films are no big deal. The Exorcist and like 3 other movies moved their releases out of the way, and now the Taylor Swift movie is expected to make $100 million opening weekend. It's just concert footage. That's crazy. And also, what is this? And what is this Venn diagram of like people that are choosing between seeing The Exorcist or Taylor Swift? Like, is that actually that could have been an Oppenheimer Barbieheimer type of thing?
For all we know, it's probably the exact same demographic.
Extra Swift. Why would they not make that a possibility? But
they're the same demographic, apparently.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're just like.
But to your point, Angel, about the direct and stuff, yeah, a lot happened kind of close together because Apple and Nintendo were like literally 2 days apart, and I think those are definitely 2 separate conversations to have, Apple and Nintendo or Nintendo and Apple. But I do find it funny that all the times we've talked about Nintendo Directs on the podcast over the years, and like the many times we've now talked about Apple events and are not just Nintendo shows, this might have been the one time where the 2 events. They kind of told very similar stories almost. Like, in a weird way, us discussing it almost feels appropriate for what those stories were, because for all the differences between those events, you know, the announcements, the products, whatever, the story of each product and really of the companies is that their signature products are plateauing. Like, nothing announced at either of those events, unless you guys disagree, but I'm considering you don't remember most of the Direct, Angel. Nothing announced at either of those events to me felt either mind-blowing or unexpected, or like there was no like innovative new like thing that would require some in-depth analysis or deep conversation.
Well, if there was, I definitely would remember. Right?
Yeah, like it was like we didn't have the conversation of is this a good idea or a stupid gimmick about, and there's 2 companies that really love to have good ideas that may also be stupid gimmicks, and they are Nintendo and Apple. So
it is kind of sad that, like, at a bare minimum, we always used to have the Smash Brothers character reveal.
Hey, we had Wave 6
disappointed with
Mario Kart DLC,
and even then, it wasn't. I mean, I don't want to say it's nothing to get excited about. It's something very much to get excited about. But they just did like here are the characters, and one track, so
with the
I
other
have
3 to be
forgotten that was
announced.
also.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the other 7?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
other 7, yeah. But not only
Yeah,
that,
so that made me almost forget the announcement almost entirely pretty quickly. Besides, Funky Kong and Diddy, like that's great. Pauline, that's cool. And then you get random I don't know why I peeked at. They could have given us that 8-bit Donkey Kong Jr. or that 16-bit Mario.
I feel like
cool.
because the through line of all of this, of the direct, I feel like the reason they even did Peachette is because they're playing it safe.
Excited.
Simply put, everything from these events, from Peachette to the iPhone, it's up. They're playing it safe. Like I feel like Nintendo and Apple are just like on the cusp of these really big shifts in their companies. For Nintendo, obviously, we got the Switch successor around the corner. Whatever that turns out to be, Apple has the Vision Pro and what they consider to be like this huge new leap into spatial computing and whatever. But yeah, what we saw at those events with little things like even not even making a big deal of Mario Kart tracks, to be like, oh, here's some tracks that are reused assets similar to Mario Karts. Yeah, they're just kind of retrofitting past stuff for the short term while they figure out their or not really figure out, but while they dig around doing their longer term stuff. Like, I think Nintendo, it kind of meant the direct that was just all ports, remaster. Well, not all, but it was packed with ports, remasters, remakes, revamps. There's some cool surprises among them. I don't know. I guess you forgot about this, Angel, and I don't know, Kev, if you're even aware, but they brought back Trace Memory out of the blue. They, Paper Mario Thousand Year
Fudge muffins.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
Damn it.
We were talking about F-Zero 99, the idea of taking F-Zero and running it through the 99 formula is kind of interesting.
Damn, that was a cool announcement. I was excited about that.
Yeah, but
for that.
And they're cool.
Trace Memories. I'm sad I forgot that one. Which I still blame the direct on. Yes.
Why? How do you blame the direct?
Because besides Trace Memory and Thousand Year Door, I guess that other statement that you said earlier, there wasn't anything super amazing that they announced.
There wasn't anything I wouldn't say amazing.
Yeah, because even Trace Memory is more of
yeah.
I'm excited about that, but it was kind of oh yeah, I had forgotten I was trying to play through that game on the DS, but just never got around to it, and always thought it'd be nice to have another chance to play it. And now we do.
Right.
But once I get one, it's when is it coming out? I know I'm buying it, but
sometime next year, I think. But yeah, and it's the first 2 games combined, so it's the DS one and the Wii sequel that never came to the States.
Which is cool.
And they're calling it Another Code, which is what was called in Japan and Europe. Well, weird little trend line in that direct is every game that had a different name in the US now has its international name. So Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is now Luigi's Mansion 2, for example. So they're standardizing that. But my point was, those are cool surprises, for sure. But you could tell Nintendo's not unloading huge new ideas or games onto the Switch at this point, which is not a knock against what we're getting at all. Just the reality is, I know, Kevin, you've alluded to this a lot on the podcast. The Switch has a technological ceiling, right? Its specs can only do so much. It can only go so far.
Jason. And this is where you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
But as I say,
go
ahead.
One thing came to mind. Well, it's not. It doesn't really go against your statement much. It's just their use of either they're not coming out with any new experimental game or anything crazy like that.
Well, a little. They have Princess Peach Super Showstopper thing.
Oh my god, I wish I remember what game it was for, but they had a quick little demo about how you were using the IR sensor to aim something.
It was in WarioWare. Move it.
What was it?
It was in Wario. There's a set of micro games in the new WarioWare that uses the IR sensor. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. They're still innovating with IR sensors.
Okay, yes. And they're still doing entirely new games like Princess Peach Showstopper or whatever it's called, where she wears outfits and does things, yes. But, what I'm saying is, the heavy hitting, the big spends on resources and budget. WarioWare is not the AAA. Those are going to the Switch too.
Not even Mario Wonder? I mean, not the
Mario
flashiest, heaviest kind of game, but
Well, here's the thing about Mario Wonder.
It's
I actually
literally
think
what Nintendo built their house on.
I think that's a great example of my point, actually, because now that you mention it, Mario Wonder it's using the existing New Super Mario Brothers engine. They gave it a snazzy new coat of paint. They put it through the lens of more modern gaming. Like, they got stuff like the Dark Souls style, like, online ghost data that helps you. They have, like, a very light RPG element with, like, the badges that assign abilities. It feels fresh. It looks great. It's wacky and weird. It's having fun with the Mario formula. But I played the demo at Target the other day. I loved it. But when I was chatting with my friends and he asked me, how was it? All I could really say was it feels like Mario. Like, it's good. It's great. It's just safe from like a budget and resource perspective. And I know we talked like a month ago about how the devs were given no deadlines on it. So obviously it's not low budget. I mean, they needed to be given a runway to experiment with ideas, which itself costs money and salaries and man hours and stuff. But I think I think you get what I'm saying though, right? Like, this isn't a new type of Mario a la 3D Land or World. This isn't a totally ground up thing like Odyssey was. It's not like a Metroid Prime 4 type of release in terms of the technological depth of it. It's not Labo or Ring Fit in terms of like centering around a really weird new idea that's a gamble that's either going to flop or become this massive system seller that'll bring in a new audience. It's 2D Mario, polished up real nice with some weirdness within the confines of what Mario game is. Like, that weirdness is contained to it's still a Mario. It's a 2D Mario. Like, it's going to be really fun, and the demo was nice, but like, that's not the game that I feel like if you were trying to show off the pinnacle of what the Switch can do and really innovate and bring in a new audience, you wouldn't trot out Mario Wonder. You wouldn't trot out Trace Memory. You know, you wouldn't necessarily... Maybe if you're trying to latch on, get some people to come into the thing, like Mario RPG or Luigi's Mansion 2, like you have a baked-in cult audience there. Maybe you can make a case like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which was also announced in the Direct, the remake from the Game Boy Advance. Like, that's playing off characters' rivalry, like the two characters' rivalry from the Mario movie. You know, that's the first time the rivalry's been kind of in the forefront in a couple of decades. Now they have a game that's playing off that. So you can make the case that there's games that are catering and doing certain things and getting certain audiences, but like, this kind of feels like the twilight years of when the Wii went through this, when the 3DS went through this. You know, it's yeah. You get what I mean, though, right? Like, it's kind of like the last hurrah, not the compare this to, like, I don't know, the first 2 years
No,
of the
yeah,
Switch. Yeah.
I can see it. I mean, and that being said, though, like, for a last hurrah or like for, like, I totally agree. Like, it feels like I guess the trajectory that we've been hitting has been going to these more simpler, and like we're ready to swan song our way out of this console.
Yeah.
And
There's
I mean,
an element to that, I think.
even Zelda, like, kind of would be a nice like bookmark on both ends. Like, oh, cool, it started and ended with Zelda.
Mhm.
That's like the big money one,
Totally. And that's not
or
to
big budget
say,
one.
for what it's worth, that's not to
But
say any of these games aren't good or aren't worth the attention or the time. Like, it's really
that's
cool
exactly
the
what
audience
you're
is big
saying,
enough.
but
No. But it's really cool that, like, the audience is big enough to support them trying to bring back a Trace Memory, or that they do see potential in working through the contract negotiations with Square Enix and getting a Super Mario RPG. It's just, how many of these games are reused scenarios or foundations that already existed but never like reached their full potential, whether it's for sales reasons, whether it's for technological reasons, whether it's for, you know what I mean? Like, these are just kind of been there. It's kind of like spruced up or fully thought out things we've seen before, which is what I was kind of saying about Mario Wonder. Like, it's very cool. It's great. It has really fun ideas within it, but it's not like it's anything truly groundbreaking. It's familiar. Everything we're seeing is familiar. It's remakes, it's remasters, it's revamps, like I was saying before. Like, it's all kind of, you know what I mean? And I think what was interesting is, I feel like on the Apple side, like 2 days before Nintendo did all this, it was the same. Like, their announcements felt very similar in terms of just reintroducing, refining, revamping all existing things. I mean, straight up, like, this new iPhone they announced, which I'm sitting next to me, like, this doesn't have an exclusive new gimmick that was a new thing for smartphones. You know, there's no dynamic island, there's no MagSafe accessories, there's no Apple Pay, there's no Face ID, there's nothing like that would motivate you to have to upgrade right away. Even the USB-C port changeover, they didn't even make that a selling point. They spent like 10 seconds mentioning it in passing, and functionality-wise, it does exactly what iPads with USB-C do. So there's no, like, not that there has to be, but there's nothing quote-unquote new there. Like, instead this year the focus, kind of like how Nintendo is like, here's all our things, but we kind of put a new coat of paint on them. Like the Focus literally was a coat of paint. Like the big new thing for iPhone is titanium. It's now in titanium. It's everything you know about the iPhone. We just put it in a different case. Check it out. And like, I don't know. It's I guess feature-wise we got an action button, which for those who don't know is that customizable side button where the mute switch used to be. But like that's something phones a decade ago had. And then it fell out of favor because iPhones didn't include one. Now it's back as this like quote unquote new selling point, even though it's an old idea. Like that's kind of what both Nintendo and Apple seem to be doing right now. It's just like, here's some old stuff you kind of maybe remember, but we've like made it prettier and flashier and are using modern tech to like spruce it up. Like a good example of that actually is on the software side. One of the banner features for iOS 17 this year is you're able to put two iPhones together, like you bring them together, and they'll essentially beam your contact information from one to the other with like this slick little animation that comes out of the dynamic island. Like it glows and shakes, and then boop, there's your contact. I remember in the late 2000s, there was an app called Bump that let you hit two phones together. I think it was for Android and BlackBerry. Maybe it worked with iPhone, actually. But yeah, Android and BlackBerry for sure. And literally, you would bump them together, put them together, just like Apple's now doing. They play a little animation, just like Apple's now doing. And your contact details would be swapped with the other person, just like Apple. It's the same idea. It's just because iOS 17 can leverage current technology to make it a little simpler. You don't have to actually bump, and it looks visually much cooler because better processing power, better screen tech, whatever. Like, now it's a new thing, but it's actually an old idea. It's sort of like Paper Mario's Switch port, where it's leveraging the current tech of the Switch to be able to look a lot better with HD graphics and then have like realistic cardboard textures and stuff that the GameCube couldn't output. It's the same game, same scenario, same story, same mechanics. Just looks a lot nicer because it can use the modern tech to do it. And like, none of this is a knock. I don't think, it's not like the new iPhone is bad or any of these Nintendo announcements are bad because of any of this. Like
you bought it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I went from a 12 Pro to a 15 Pro, and all the nips, tucks, refinements, everything they've introduced over the years make it feel pretty great as an upgrade. I have 3 years of changes all at once, better screen tech, all kind of fine tuned. The titanium does feel super nice. It's slightly more rounded, so it's a little more comfy to hold. And the camera enhancements, they make for some really nice night shots, and they have this ability now to retroactively apply portrait mode, which is pretty slick. So even if you take a normal photo later, if it detected the depth information, it can do the portrait mode. But to my broader point, nothing with portrait mode itself is different. There's no new options. It doesn't it's a little cleaner. The cutout in portrait mode, like the blur is better, and you can do it later, but it's still the same portrait mode. They just, use the technology to catch it up to kind of what the Vision could have been when they first introduced it a few years ago, if it wasn't for the lack of the technology. So I don't know, like the whole complete package as the new iPhone 15, or in this case the Pro, it does feel really nice and it's fresh enough to be worthwhile in my eyes. It's just that phones in general have kind of hit a technological ceiling. Not in terms of power, like that's the Switch's ceiling it's now hitting, but in terms of just like new uses, I guess. So I feel like what I'm getting at is it's like the iPhone's almost the Mario Wonder thing when you mentioned Mario Wonder. Like the iPhone 15 is all the features that are familiar, but they're tweaked, they're fine-tuned, they're augmented. There's just enough newness and like kind of little twists on what you expect thanks to modern technology, thanks to things they couldn't physically do a couple years ago, that I and presumably most people that like the brand are happy with. Meanwhile, Apple can plug away at what it considers the real next new hotness, which is spatial computing, just like Nintendo can pump out Mario Wonder, but plug away at the Switch 2 in the background, where most of their resources are probably going. So anyway, that's the little parallel I drew in my head between the Nintendo Direct and the Apple event, because they happened so close together and they were so thematically similar in that regard. Like, it's basically that line from True Detective that time is a flat circle, time is but a flat circle.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, it's basically that. Just the caveat is each time we go around the circle, it like looks slightly better than the last time we ran around it, like visually. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like the thing I felt coming out of both of those. So I'm happy with the phone. I'm happy with the announcements. Did anything stand out to you guys in the Direct that or are either you getting the new phone? Like, where are you guys kind of at with that week of news that we had?
I just remember coming out of the Direct overall positive. Like, like you had mentioned, you had that remake of, well, I guess a lot of remake, but the trace memory, like, I guess a reintroduction. Like, it just gave me hope for maybe other DS era games coming over, like Hotel Dusk. Like I thought
That'd be cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Anything that just kind of like follows that same format. Like it made me wonder like if we'll ever get like a related collection of like the first 5 games or even just the first 3 DS ones. Like
do you say of Layton, like Professor Layton?
Layton, yeah, Professor Layton.
Level 5's trying desperately to become relevant again. They had some financial issues, so I would not be surprised if they take the easy road and do that in a few years. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like, it's been a while since I've watched a direct that made me get really speculative or like hopeful, like with things that could come. Just because I'm really enjoying this GameCube era game push they've been doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that means an F-Zero GX, yes. If not, then, well, just keep hoping.
I mean,
or maybe a Chibi Robo or something, especially if you're not caring as much with what ends up being a quote-unquote Switch title point.
The thing that, like, gives me some hope is Nintendo's at the point where they're looking at 130 plus million Switch owners, and they're going, well, what game did we previously have that could reach a bigger audience now? So they see something in narrative-driven stuff like Trace Memory.
Yeah.
Like when Ashley popped up during the Direct, that was one of the few times that audibly watching a Nintendo Direct went, what? Like I did not expect her at all to show up. Like that was so out of left field. So they clearly see some potential there. They clearly see, obviously they know the demand for Paper Mario. I have to imagine Paper Mario and F-Zero 99 are almost like a litmus test to see if those franchises, like what direction, if there's an audience to do a more formal sequel, like a proper new resources required beyond just sprucing up sequel. But yeah, it definitely feels like they're kind of in this stage, like you said, where it's like, well, what can we throw against the wall and see what works? So, Chibi Robo, they've thrown Chibi Robo against the wall like 4 times in hopes of it working, and every single time he just fell in a pile of parts on the floor. So I don't know. But...
When like the only thing that people want with Chibi Robo is just the first game again.
Agreed. Yeah, and they're really bad at doing that. I mean, even honestly,
it's a power trip. They know that's all it takes because they know like, oh, they'll lose them.
Totally. I mean, even honestly, the F-Zero 99 thing, like everyone wants F-Zero. People didn't think they wanted it. Like F-Zero 99 is very fun. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's not GX. It's like, I don't know if Nintendo. I don't know what they're thinking sometimes. Like they do a litmus test, but then they do it with not the thing that was originally the thing, like Chibi Robo. Like it doesn't make sense sometimes. Like who thought Ziplash would be like the game that would make Chibi Robo a huge hit, But is there a GameCube era game besides F-Zero that you like really, really hope somehow surfaces between now and the Switch 2?
Well, I mean, that's Chibi Robo. We just mentioned that one as well. But besides those 2, man, I guess maybe Double Dash, simply because that game feels very different from how almost any Mario Kart feels, actually. Because you don't jump in that game. Like, your car doesn't jump. Which just, that alone, I feel like changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they still missed an opportunity to release Mario Kart's arcade version as like a home console port for like $30. Like make it clear it's a spin-off like they did with Mario Kart Live. Maybe bundle it with Double Dash and call it like the Mario Kart Legacy Collection or something. I don't know. But like there's an opportunity there. It's already done. It exists. They just have to... Cruise and Blast ported over easy enough. Like they've done it before. It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, it's a weird game, and it has, like, camera features and stuff. But I feel like, I don't know. This seems like an easy way to... Like, they go the other way. The Luigi's Mansion arcade game is based on the 3DS one, on Dark Moon. So if they go one way, they could go the other way, presumably. But who am I to question Nintendo's logic?
Otherwise, I'm kind of... I mean, it's expected for me, or at least at the point, to also just want Metroid Prime 2, because I really did love that one as well. But yeah, I guess something I normally wouldn't think to pick, besides obviously Wind Waker, but that feels like it's weird at this point. It was... Oh my god, I just had it right now. Oh, Four Swords Adventure.
Oh, that's an excellent choice. Yes.
That's the one.
For a system that has always promoted co-op play as heavily as the Switch, and the idea that you can do 2-player right there anytime, it is weird to me that they didn't do Four Swords, but it's 2 players, and then offer go online to go with other friends on a full Swords adventure. Like I played through all the original Four Swords on Game Boy Advance with a friend, and we loved it, and it was just 2 of us. Like, they could easily have done play 2-player Four Swords on the go or 4-player Four Swords online. Like, that would have been... What a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
It really is.
that's a really good one. It's technically Wii, but I would also love for them to do an Excite collection with truck and bots.
Yeah.
Again, it should be easy enough to port, I would imagine. I don't know. And I feel like I should be fair. When I was talking about, like, Nintendo's, like, just kind of sprucing up old games, like, it takes effort and dev work and time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears to even do a port of Paper Mario or whatever. It's just, it's a different tier than starting from scratch because you have a baseline scenario, baseline foundation to work off of. So, like, pouring Excite Truck, you have it. You just need to, make it look HD and give it some texture work and make sure the netcode's still good. Like, that's all I mean. I'm not trying to discredit those who do the ports because I know it's still a lot of work. It's just, in the grander scheme of things, it's the easier path for a company that's maybe distracted with a new console. So, Kevin, are there any favorite GameCube, or even let's just say GameCube era, so even like PS2 or Xbox, are there any games that you'd love to see now like get revamped and be portable?
No, I'm kidding.
I hate everything from 2001 to 2008.
I don't know if I care so much about these like GameCube era games being portable. Like, I just wouldn't mind playing them again. Like, I'm super excited for Thousand Year Door. That's gonna be great. Super Mario RPG is coming out this year as well, right?
Yeah, it comes out in November. It's Nintendo's big holiday game this year, so November like 18th or something. Yep.
Yeah, so the fact that they're portable doesn't really mean much to me. Like, don't get me wrong, at this wedding I did take my Steam Deck and it was cool playing Liza P on there.
Wait, back up. When at a wedding were you playing a Steam Deck? Like, in what scenario do you play the Steam Deck during a wedding? I'm just curious.
In the hotel?
Oh, you stayed. Okay, for some reason I thought you just went for the day. I don't know.
No.
It was here in LA, wasn't it?
No, it was in Malibu.
Oh, well, that's close to LA. Okay. But fair. Yeah, you're being safe. Smart man.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was cool, but at the same time, those games I would definitely just play at home, like on my TV. So,
right.
Yeah, I forgot these were all technically portable now, or going to be portable. But yeah, like and almost.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I almost never go anywhere, with like my job and everything that's going on. Like, I rarely ever take trips that I would think, oh, let me bring my Switch. I haven't even touched my Switch, and I don't think I've touched my Switch this year.
Well, good thing we're now beyond just a Nintendo podcast.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm definitely gonna, like I said, I'm gonna play the crap out of Thousand Year Door, and I'm gonna play the crap out of Super Mario RPG, so that'll be fun. But like, I'm trying to think of all the GameCube games that. I mean, it'd be cool to have a brand new custom rowboat. That'd be dope.
Thank you. Yes, I completely forgot about that. Custom Robo, like, sleep. I didn't know you're into it. This makes me so happy. There's actually did you ever play the DS one, Custom Robo Arena?
No.
Okay, so the DS one is the GameCube one, but has a story attached. It's kind of Pokemon-esque in terms of the vibe. Like, kind of like anime-ish, like RPG. But yeah, Custom Robo Arena on the DS was super good. And I really like Custom Robo on the GameCube. Yeah, they need to bring that back. I am very in favor of that. Did I ever tell you guys the story that I actually, quote-unquote, beta tested the English release of Custom Robo on the GameCube?
No.
So, please regale us.
Well, you sound so enthused. It wasn't, so Nintendo called it like a preview test or a beta test. What they did, this is when I was still on the Nintendo forums and was like in their Sage program and everything. What they did is they sent me the retail demo that you could go play at Best Buy, and then they sent me about 20 pages of just character designs, like in like a manila folder. And they were like, play the game, look at these characters, take this survey, and tell us what you think. But the game came out 4 weeks after I did that, so it's not like my input would have really changed anything. I guess maybe for Custom Robo Arena on the DS, but it was very strange. Like, try this beta test with this finished demo and this finished game that's already being pressed to discs. But yeah, that was my one time I got to like try a game for Nintendo and give them feedback. It's like a little remote focus group. That story sounded better in my head when I started it than it was when I finished it out loud. In case you were wondering. But yeah, no, Custom Robot I'd love to see come back. Crazy Taxi as well. I know I'm switching gears to Sega.
GameCube only game, so that didn't really.
What was that?
But yeah, I would agree very wholeheartedly with Crazy Taxi, but I forget that's a, I guess, Nintendo game.
It's Sega, but it was a launch title for the GameCube.
No, but I was just trying to think of exclusives.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think my launch of the GameCube, when I bought the GameCube, I had more Sega games than Nintendo games, actually. Because I think I had, at launch, Luigi, Crazy Taxi, and Monkey Ball. Weird.
That is very...
Yeah. So does anyone raise your hand, or with your mouth, I guess, is anyone going to get Princess Peach, was it Showstopper, Showtime, Show...
I think I'll consider it.
Time will tell. Depends on how many games I'm playing at the time.
But it caught your guys' attention enough to actually, like, consider?
Not really outside of, I guess, collection purposes.
Because that is the one game that goes against everything I've been saying about Nintendo only doing remasters and remakes. Like, that is a brand new from the ground up.
Taking a pretty big chance with a new lead.
I mean, it's Peach. I feel like it's very it goes back to what they did in the Direct over the summer. It's very like, all these fun characters from our movies. Now play them in our games, like Luigi's Mansion 2, Princess Peach Showtime, Detective Pikachu Returns, Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Like, it's very, the audience that they brought in through the movie, they're now going to sell the games too. So, by that token, it's not that much of a risk at all, I don't think. Yeah. But anyway, I had one more game I want to talk about. Angel, you said you didn't try F-Zero 99. Kevin, did you? It's free with Switch Online.
Do you remember how I said that I haven't touched my Switch this year?
Right. I don't know. Maybe you emulated it. But yes, that is fair.
I don't think anybody ever emulated the 99 games.
It's hard because you need an active Switch Online subscription, so how would it check that? Because they all live on a server, essentially, the games. So that'd be tricky. Yeah. Like, you basically have a shell of a game, and then it updates everything from the server side, I believe. But, all right. Well, that's the last game I want to talk about for the Direct before maybe we switch gears. But as our resident Tetris 99 junkie, I feel like I do have an obligation to talk about this a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That thing was announced.
What was announced? Before, will you do yours before I do mine? No, what was announced?
No. What you're about to talk about.
Oh, F-Zero 99? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I personally think the 99 games, including Super Mario 35, which is not 99, it's 64 less than
that was only
99.
their second. They haven't even made it past 5.
Maybe we need
they're 99 games.
Maybe I need a new name for these. So I think
I thought they were talking about 99 games.
I know, no. So I'll call them retro games with an unreasonably large number of opponents series. There we go. Okay. The retro game.
What acronym did that create?
Retro RGBWAULN and one or two O's, depending if you count the of. So good luck trying to phonetically say that one. But I think while most people maybe want a GX remaster, like we were kind of touching on before, I was very happy with it being F-Zero 99. I don't know if you guys experienced this in your time playing the various 99 games. What I just call it, the retro games with unreasonable large number of opponents series. But anyway, I don't know if you had this experience whenever you tried these games in the past, but I feel like there's always these two variables that are kind of happening in each one. And it's happened. There's been 4 of these games so far, right? And there's always these two variables that kind of impact how I'd rank them against each other. There's how well does it translate the original experience into like this kind of Battle Royale format. Oh, that's what I could have called them this whole time. Battle Royale. They could have called them Battle Royale games. Anyway, how well does, what I started to say is how well does it translate to a Battle Royale, and how much does the game offer as like a hook, what gameplay loop does it have? And I think for Tetris 99, the first one, the OG, the experience just meant more sources of garbage blocks hitting your screen. And then the added layer of picking where you send your garbage blocks. So the core gameplay of Tetris 99 compared to the other 99s is relatively unchanged from Tetris. There's just more blocks to deal with. Like, so if you want Tetris, you can play 99, you can play Effect, you can play DS and find that in your closet somewhere. Like, you're essentially in for the same core experience. But I thought that what Tetris 99 did that was really good is that a really good hook in the form of the Maximus Cups, which are still going as recently as last week, 2 weeks ago. And those don't really reinvent the wheel in terms of gameplay or anything, but they do actually kind of nod to Tetris DS in that all the themes you get for each Maximus Cup, all the blocks, all the boards, everything is based on, in the background, is based on a different Nintendo game. So they're basically skins, but you unlock a new one with each cup. The cups last 3 days. And if you start collecting a few, it's easy, at least for me, to then want to get them all and return every time there's a new cup. And it's probably one of my more frequently returned to Switch games for that reason alone. So that's kind of its advantage. It's Tetris, but, you know, I like the collectible aspect. So that was game number 1. Pretty much as core as you can to the original experience. Then came Mario 35, as you may recall. And to me, that went in totally the opposite direction. It used 2D Mario as like the base, but really changed the gameplay mechanics, really kind of messed with your muscle memory of how to play a Mario. Like the online element, the Battle Royale element was you would send garbage in the form of enemies to other people's screens to knock them out of the competition. So essentially you want to overwhelm their screen with enemies, as you may remember from playing it. So you're initially doing this kind of like not so normal Mario dance of like choosing which enemies you need to attack or dodge at which times to like kind of navigate through this growing wall of enemies. But I seem to recall, and I think Angel, I want to say we had this conversation when the game was still out because obviously they pulled it. But I feel like we both figured out that there's basically a single way to play it. Like once you kind of find the groove of how to like ebb and flow and ease up and slow down and speed up and that sort of thing. Like you're not speed running it. You're not playing it like normal Mario. There's kind of like this pattern that emerges. And once you determine that groove, that was kind of the end of the game, especially because it was very linear. So you always went from point A to point B.
It was really to abuse.
Yeah. And it's always
if multiple people abused it, then it would just make the games last forever. So it pretty much just kills the game.
Yeah, it was almost like you'd always have to go like you go point A, point B, and you always at certain intervals do action X or Y depending on what's happening around you. And then they didn't even have in-game events as like a gameplay loop hook. Probably because it was a short game that was only out for like a year or two, so they didn't need to build like longer term repeat events or whatever. But the whole thing just kind of felt like it went too far away from the source material to make this Battle Royale. So then Pac-Man 99 came out, and that to me kind of split the difference between Mario 35 and Tetris 99. Like with Mario, it wasn't like a clean migration, and honestly Pac-Man wasn't quite as clean either, but they kept the core Pac-Man gameplay for the Battle Royale, but then they need to add elements to it to make it like actually work because it's a single player experience. Like Mario, they just completely changed what a Mario game is. Like it still played like Mario in terms of the physical moves, but it didn't feel like Mario in the same way. Pac-Man still kind of felt like Pac-Man. It just had to layer on top of it. So they actually borrowed from Pac-Man Championship Edition, if you guys have ever played that, and they did this ghost train idea. So basically, there's these like endless strings of ghosts that you would face, and anytime that you would do something successful on your Pac-Man maze, you would send what were called jammer Pac-Men into enemy screens. And the upside of this whole system is it felt a little bit more like Tetris 99 in that it wasn't just one strategy to win, a la Mario 35, because ultimately, as you were taking on those ghost trains and sending jammer Pac-Men to other screens, you could act how you wanted, whichever which way. You're in like a maze that has multiple directions. You could choose to let the ghost trains get longer for have more oomph when you attack your enemies. You can have them be shorter, nip them in the bud sooner, but it wouldn't be as impactful on your opponents and enemy boards and stuff. So how you wanted to tackle it was a little more freeform. It kind of felt a little more like the same way you would tackle a Pac-Man maze normally. Like they kind of found the balance a little of like a new mechanic, but staying true to the original. But then on the hook side, like the gameplay hooks that you come back, the in-game events, I frankly don't remember what they were. Which maybe is more of a me problem than a Pac-Man 99 problem, but I think it says something that I literally cannot tell you a single event that happened because I just don't remember what they were, like whatsoever. So that's kind of my 99 game worldview up to this point. Or my, sorry, what did we call it before? My retro games with large opponent count, whatever it was. That's my worldview up to this point coming into F-Zero 99. So now that we're at F-Zero 99, it's interesting because you can kind of see how it takes into consideration all the predecessors' pros and cons. Like, it's like structurally the best of the bunch, I think. The biggie for me is that it doesn't fall into the pitfalls of Mario 35, in part because, kind of like with Tetris, F-Zero is very faithful to its original material. They basically just expanded the tracks. They added a new launch area to navigate before you reach the course itself. I'm not really sure what its purpose is, but it kind of lets you get your bearings with so many other racers. But the mechanics are like pretty much the same, like right down to shoulder button drifts and spin attacks that feel just like you remember from F-Zero. So you're not taking like the knowledge or history of a game's core gameplay and needing to like throw it out the window like Mario 35 did. It still feels like F-Zero. But unlike Tetris 99, which stayed very true to the core gameplay, F-Zero 99 can't just one-to-one expand to 99 racers, because in the same way that, Mario 35 and Pac-Man 99 need to introduce new elements to kind of rebalance the game because of those larger player counts, F-Zero does too. So that's what they did. And fortunately, like with Pac-Man 99, they found a way to do it that feels very organic to core gameplay. It adds a layer on top, like a new... quite literally, it adds a layer. I was going to say like a new mechanic, but no, quite literally, it adds a layer on top. It's called the Skyway, and the core idea is that with so many racers on the track, there needs to be a way for folks in the very back to legitimately have a shot at moving upwards or towards the front or out of their little pack, or if you're in the middle, how you get out of that pack, because you're all in there so close. So the game has this new meter. It's filled up when you collect things called super sparks, which are these small objects that fall whenever two racers bonk into each other, whether it's an intentional spin attack or whether it's just accidental taps. Whenever that happens, little things fall on the track behind them, and you can grab them by rolling over them. And once the meter is full, you tap A, it sends you up to this higher level, like less crowded, essentially risk-free path that cuts through some of the curves and hair-pick turns and whatnot. And then after a set amount of time, like, 10 seconds maybe, you just come back down to the regular track. It's basically like a shortcut that you summon on command if you've got the juice to do it with the meter. And one thing I think that's so clever about this is they aren't actually changing the gameplay. It's a side effect or a side benefit of the spin attacks and the side swipes that are already in the series and already utilized. And it lets them provide a way for not just those in the middle to try and get out of the huge pack they're stuck in, but for those in the back, they also, around the second lap, have a special vehicle that comes out. And if you spin attack it's like this big gold vehicle, it will drop a bunch of super sparks. So it's almost like a mini rubber banding opportunity for those who are less skilled, without it necessarily feeling too unfair for those in the front of the pack, because if you want to stay ahead, just be more aggressive on the track. You can earn super sparks the same way as the folks in the back, and you can stay ahead that way and kind of balance that risk management that you already have to balance for the power meter this other way too now. So it's a cool way to sort of, it still has the kind of like trial by fire, like twitchy, you gotta make decisions on the fly really quick feel that F-Zero does, just does it in a different way, or a new way on top of existing ways, which is kind of cool. The other thing I think F-Zero pulled off really well is the reasons to keep playing, like that loop that the other games kind of weren't all great with. I don't think for me personally these loops are quite at the same level as Tetris 99's Nintendo skins and their collectability, but I realize I'm probably odd man out with that. But they do offer a whole bunch of stuff. There's a rotating schedule with different cups of various sizes throughout the day, and on weekends they do special cups. Some offering 3 tracks back-to-back, some offering 5. For the 5-cup tracks, or 5-track cups, I should say, the final track is only available in the cup. So they actually encourage you to come play on the weekend and try and get through the cup and everything, because then you can try a track that you wouldn't otherwise get to play, which is actually kind of cool. And that's actually, those cups are where the Battle Royale element really shines, because you need to stay within a certain place or lower to automatically to not be automatically disqualified, like to continue racing, and that changes throughout the race. So you'll be like, you have to be closer to an 85th place, you have to be closer to an 75th place, you have to be closer to the 60th place, whatever. And the numbers shrink as you obviously go from track to track, and there's fewer players to start with. So it almost has kind of like a Fall Guys type of shrinking competition with each round. But on top of all that, there's also single-player time trial mode if you want to like learn the ways of the tracks. There's different badges and backgrounds to unlock for your online profile card. There's paint jobs you can get for your cars. There's cars you can get, if I remember correctly. Basically, it's what any racing game would offer. Nice variety of things, but in this case, like, this is a free value add for your Switch Online subscription. Like, they're putting in all these hooks and all these loops that you would get in a normal racing game, but it's all free here, which is kind of cool. But the most interesting hook, I think, is one that almost kind of steps away from the 99 concept. It's called Rivals, and basically at the start of every race, the game identifies, I think it's four. We'll say four. It's four people. Yeah, it's four. It identifies four people who have similar rankings and race records to you. And the game then encourages you to not just outperform them, but specifically to take them out if you can. Because, like with regular F-Zero, if you hit someone with the depleted power meter, they will crash out. You can also crash out. That's another way you get eliminated. If you let your meter drain and you hit a wall or whatever, you're done. You're out. So obviously that means one fewer opponent in terms of the broader race. Which is very good in a cup situation, like I was saying before. But also, I think the whole rival system is a really clever way for the developers to maintain kind of a sense of urgency and having strategy and juggling all those different factors of, your power depletion, your super sparks, your place in the race, with this element of, well, now there's people that theoretically are around you because they're similar skill sets. They're also trying to basically snipe you, and you want to get them. And it's like, you're not just focusing on getting to the front per se. Like the rival system, in theory, makes you also want to deal with those in your immediate vicinity. So it's almost like having a mini mission inside your broader mission. So that's cool and something that the other 99 games don't really do. You can kind of have rivals in Tetris 99, like you can target people targeting you, but it's not, which is, I think, in high-level concept what they're doing here with F-Zero, but this one feels like much better executed, I guess. So, I said it before, but for a freebie, for Switch Online, like, F-Zero 99 really offers a lot of variety and a lot of nice features. And I don't know if it'll fully replace Tetris 99 for me personally, but it's definitely the one that I think has found the best balance between offering both familiarity with its original IP and something new that kind of takes the spirit of the IP and stays true to it, but goes in a new direction with it. So that's F-Zero 99, my highlight from the Nintendo Direct, I would say.
Yeah, definitely a nice surprise if it wasn't for what feels like half the internet guessing that's what it was.
Yeah, it got leaked. There's a guy named Puyo or something on Twitter who posted like Thursday before the event, like the mathematic equation to trigger F-Zero on like a graphing calculator or something. And then someone made some joke about F-Zero 99 and he would basically retweet it. And it was like, yeah. I mean, he didn't say yeah, but he started like all the people that were joking about F-Zero 99, he started boosting it and people were like, oh, it's really a thing. So, yeah.
Just like that.
Yep. He leaked a lot of stuff, actually. But Mario vs. Donkey Kong was leaked by him. Another code. It wasn't clear it was another code, but he said a DS and a Wii remake, which I think people thought were two separate franchises getting remade, but it ended up being two in one. But, yeah. Dude's reliable. So if you want spoilers for next Direct, go find Puyo on Twitter before the Nintendo ninjas, kill him.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. That escalated quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. Almost way too quickly.
I was gonna say get him. I was gonna say get him, but then I said kill him for some reason. So, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But anyway, I was playing that on the Switch. Kevin, you said you don't play your Switch, but you did mention you were playing on your Steam Deck specifically.
I am playing on my Steam Deck.
And I see on here you have a game from your Steam Deck on the list. Would you like to tell us about it?
I don't know if I want to tell you about it.
Well, I said like to, not want to. You could not have... Oh, I guess those are the same word. Well, if you feel so inclined, or if you want to tell Angel and just pretend I'm not here, that's acceptable.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I've been playing Lies of P, which I believe is the debut game by this developer called NeoWiz, which is a South Korean studio. And this game is clearly inspired by Souls-like games, but mainly Bloodborne. As a lot of you probably already know, Bloodborne is the greatest game of all time. Nothing even comes close to it. That is a fact, not a matter of opinion. It definitely is. It definitely
Mario
is.
World would like a word.
Yeah, Mario's a good number 2, but just doesn't hold a candle to Bloodborne. Anyways, I don't know, Jason. Only one of us here has played Bloodborne and Super Mario World, so.
That's actually a really good point.
Ew.
I literally can't argue with that.
Sit down, Jason.
I know. I'm just going to walk out of the room. Bye.
But anyways, so Bloodborne is absolutely my favorite game of all time. And unfortunately, there has been no remaster announced or like an update to make that game run better than it did on the PS4. Although there's always rumblings that Bloodborne remaster is finally coming out. It's finally going to get announced, and every year I fall for it every single goddamn time. But thankfully, I'm happy to report that Lies of P is definitely the next best thing when it comes to Bloodborne type games. Like I said, this is definitely more inspired by Bloodborne and to a degree Sekiro, both from Software, one of my favorite developers in the business. Like a lot of Souls games mainly get their inspiration from Dark Souls and the Demon Soul single game. So it is pretty exciting that we get one that's DNA is definitely closer to Bloodborne. Like I said, I'm 10 hours in. This game is pretty damn fun. The basis of it is you are playing as Pinocchio. Yes, Pinocchio. And you're traversing this world of Krat, which is this very Victorian Gothic steampunk town that definitely evokes the feeling of Yharnam and Bloodborne. Just with like some slight twists. And the city of Krat, it's been overrun by mechanical puppets that have been running amok, killing its residents. So it's up to you as Pinocchio to find Geppetto, as he's like one of the few that know how to stop the puppets and the rebellion. As far as the story goes, it's very much in line with those other games where story isn't necessarily the forefront, but with a lot of items and with a lot of like lore that you will learn through other characters, you'll like slowly start to unravel the story. And I mean, the basic premise is good enough for me. Like I can understand where or like why I'm, fighting these monsters. But I'm not actually too familiar with the original story of Pinocchio or even the Disney movie for that fact. I've never seen it.
What about
the most Pinocchio
del Toro one?
Yeah, what about Del Toro?
I have not seen the Del Toro movie either.
Oh, damn.
Side note,
that's probably
what a renaissance for the little boy with the nose and the lying. Like, he's really, like, he's in so much all of a sudden. There's a live-action Pinocchio, there's a Toro Pinocchio, there's this.
Did he just recently get released in the public domain? Is that why all this stuff is happening?
That must be it. That's actually a really good point. Probably a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I could say. I saw this, like, really funny parallel where, these dark Pinocchio stories have been thriving, Lies of P and that Guillermo del Toro movie. And then all the dark adaptations for Winnie the Pooh just really, really suck.
They're making a sequel to the horror one, though, apparently.
Oh, really? I heard that movie's terrible.
Like a Blood and Honey or whatever. Yeah, they're doing a sequel.
Honey and Blood.
Yeah.
I heard that movie was
Honey
terrible,
Blood.
but I haven't seen it. Yeah, so I've never seen the Disney movie. The closest I've gone to that movie was when you're inside Monster in Kingdom Hearts 1. But I do know that Jiminy Cricket is your companion in Kingdom Hearts. And you even have a little Jiminy in this one as well, who's also giving you a fair bit of exposition whenever you're entering like a brand new town. When it comes to the gameplay itself, it's, like I said, it's a mix of Bloodborne and Sekiro. Bloodborne definitely changed up the Souls formula by making you go on the offensive as opposed to standing your ground with a shield and waiting for a counterattack. That's what I really, really love about that game. In this game, similar to Bloodborne, after you get hit by an enemy, you can actually sort of go for a counterattack and then regain some of that health that you just lost. And then when it comes to the Sekiro parallels, that's where you essentially have to do a perfect block whenever an enemy is attacking you. You don't have a shield in this game. I mean, later you can get sort of a shield, but it's not a shield the same way that a shield is in the Souls games. Have you guys ever played the Souls games? I don't think I've ever asked you guys this.
No.
I've witnessed them.
I don't think
You've witnessed them just like the war boys from Mad Max Fury Road?
Yes, and then as I was standing in front of the game, as it was running on TV, I screamed, "Witness me," and inhaled some spray paint. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But no, I've watched people play them, is what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
The Souls games are very much, especially later on as the series progressed, especially with like Elden Ring, those are very much choose your type of gameplay, whether you want to be like heavily fortified with a shield or not. Here, just like Bloodborne and Sekiro, you have no shield. You have that tiny little shield that you can get later on, but it's not really meant as a defensive move. So here you have to essentially perfect parry. Otherwise, if you just hold block, you'll get reduced damage from whatever attack is being aimed your way. But if you do a perfect parry, you will sustain no damage. And the timing is not friendly as it was in Sekiro. I thought Sekiro's timing was difficult. This game, man, you can't spam block the same way that you could in Sekiro. Here, your timing has to be very, very precise. And then, like, another parallel to Sekiro is Pinocchio's left arm can be customized to do a specific action. So currently I have like a grappling hook where I will pull enemies towards me, and then you can unlock other abilities such as just electrifying your enemies who are straight up in front of you. There's just a lot of cool ideas on top of those that I feel like make it distinct from the Soul series. I hate weapon degradation, as I always bring up that fact in the Breath of the Wild games. But here in this game, at the very least, weapons don't decay as fast as those do. And in here, you also have this grindstone on your arm that you'll have to constantly use to have your weapon at peak performance. And there's been situations where my weapon is really close to losing its edge, I guess, and in the middle of boss fights. And it's very, very like nerve-wracking having to pull away while this boss is chasing you and finding like a split second to use your grindstone to have your weapon do maximum damage. Like another thing that I think is really, really clutch about this game is the Estus Flask equivalent, which is basically how you regain your health. In this game, it's called a Pulse Cell, and it'll replenish your health. And what's really cool about it is that once you run out of cells, you can actually recharge it by damaging your enemies. Like, this game is completely focused on being on the offensive, which I totally, totally love. My favorite aspect of the game is actually this, it's like minor, but it's still really, really fun. It's weapon customization, where whenever you find a weapon, you'll find two parts of it, the blade and the handle, and then you can mix and match blades to your liking. So you can have a really, really short blade on a really, really long handle to sort of like spear your enemies. Or you can have like a really big blade with a really small handle, and the handle will usually determine what kind of motion your attacks will take. When it comes to enemies, the variety I really like. It's not massive, like especially towards the end of the Soul series, like Elden Ring. But like, you start off fighting those mechanical puppets and crap, and then eventually you'll start fighting some like eldritch-like enemies with their own different weaknesses, and each enemy, obviously, you have to approach differently. The bosses themselves have been pretty challenging. Nothing that's made me throw my controller in frustration, but still, they're like difficult enough to keep me on the edge of my seat and grant me a sweet sigh of relief once I do beat that boss. And there's one aspect of the game that I'm not digging at all. It's the linearity. The earlier Souls games have had some fantastic branching paths as you play through the game, and this game is pretty much, you've got one path to go forward through, and towards the end of that path, you'll unlock a shortcut to the last bonfire that you found. So not the best aspect of that game by a mile, but I don't know, the gameplay is like solid enough to keep me just going through the game. This game will probably be the next one that I roll credits for. Like, I can't remember the last time I rolled credits for a game. It's probably my second favorite game of the year behind Baldur's Gate.
Oh,
Wow.
Didn't expect to hear that about American McGee's Pinocchio.
I wonder if he did make a... That's pretty good.
That is actually...
Yeah, and I was playing it on my Steam Deck. Runs really well on there. Yeah, that's Liza P. It's the Pinocchio Renaissance continues.
Nice. Well, it's only been out for a little bit, right? Like, so
it's been out for about 3 weeks to a month.
I remember I was always perplexed by it because they always showed trailers for it at the Game Awards, and I had no idea who the developer was or what it was, but it's making a lot more sense now that you've talked it through.
Yeah, I remember watching that original trailer and just being like, oh my god, somebody made a Bloodborne like spiritual sequel, which it definitely feels like it. Like I said, when it comes to its linearity, that's where obviously From Software has like perfected that. But I don't know if I'm glad, I'm really happy with the game, and I hope
Nice.
they do DLC. That'd be really really cool. I want to see more of this world. I want to play more of this gameplay.
Yeah, I feel like a game. This year has been a good year for games lining up with people's hype.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single game that came out that like cyberpunked it, for lack of a better term.
There's some people not too happy with Starfield, but I overall see a more positive outlook for that game than I do a negative one.
Yeah, no, I've seen similar where some say it gets a little mundane, but yeah, it's generally more positive.
Yeah,
I agree from what I've seen. Yeah, nice. And Angel, you haven't been playing anything, huh?
No, I mean I've been progressing more into Final Fantasy VII. I made it past the bee club.
the Honeybee.
The Honeybee Lounge. Where
Wait, I
am
forgot.
I?
You're playing remake or
Original.
Right, that's right.
Original. Yeah, then eventually I'll play the remake. But yeah, that's mainly been the only thing. And just Smash Brothers again, just as usual.
So what have you been? Cause actually, I'm going to throw a topic at you that you didn't put on the list. You listen to Sonic?
On Spotify? Yeah, I do. From time to time.
No, in a theatrical setting for the Sonic Symphony. I'm surprised you didn't put it on the list.
Huh. I have forgotten I went to that. No, I'm just kidding.
I
But I kind of did.
saw videos of people singing Cityscape, and I was not that I was jealous, but I was like, man, they're really getting into it. That's really really fun.
No, yeah, it was pretty amazing. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast, but I want to say that I told someone that I knew. No, not that I knew. I guess technically this is the first concert that I'm going to since probably the Zelda one that I guess I felt I had a really good chance of liking. I've been to many concerts this year, and most of them are from bands or groups that I only discovered recently-ish. And this one was obviously going to be very different because it has years and years and years of nostalgia with it. So yeah, nothing could really compete with anything that came out of that. Even, the first hour was the symphony portion of it, which was very great, as you would expect. And then after the hour break, well, I mean, highlight for me, at least especially from the symphonic part, was Sky Sanctuary. That one was just such a good track. They only did one song from Sonic. Oh, one song from Sonic 3. Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 got entire medley. Sonic 3, they just did Sky Sanctuary. And I think a different title theme. And then they
Imagine if your sentence just end there. I went to a Sonic concert and they did one song from Sonic, and that's just where you stopped.
Yep, very anticlimactic. And then, of course, you had the CG era. And it wasn't just Crush 40. I didn't realize there were so many vocalists, especially even in Crush 40. I guess they have two primary vocalists that swap between songs. Because one of them, the person that does Escape from the City, is not the same person that sang Live and Learn. But they mentioned how they had like a Sounds of Sonic concert and how they did that a long time ago. And yeah, it's just crazy how amazing it is to finally hear, Crush 40 perform live. That was just really cool. And then also just hearing I'm familiar enough with the other vocal tracks, because I guess I enjoyed them enough to listen to them. But like the one for Sonic Colors, the one for Sonic and the Black Knight, they even did the one from Sonic 06, and whoever was doing the editing clearly was having a ton of fun. Like even, pointing
video, you mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, just like the person that's just doing the editing for the whole show. Yeah, you could tell they were having a great time, just poking fun at the, Sonic memes, like when he drowns or stuff like that. But Yeah, it was really, really great.
So it was first an hour orchestra that was a rock show, or did the orchestra
Yeah.
play with the rock show? Like how'd that?
It was first just an orchestra for the first hour, and then it turned into the rock show. But the orchestra was still there and always just providing additional sounds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is always awesome because you get hints of violin and all that fun stuff.
Right. And this was at the Dolby Theater, home of the Academy Awards, right?
Yep.
It's a big theater.
Yeah. Right next to where the Pokemon Museum was.
Yes, the Pokemon Kogi art exhibit that came from Japan and is here in LA for 7 months, 6 months, something like that. That was interesting, actually, because you and I went to that on Saturday, and that.
Wow, I forgot we went to that.
You forget a lot of things, it seems. No, but that was. I wasn't planning to talk about that, but it's interesting because, like, it's one, it's an exercise in just brand awareness because Pokemon Company foot the bill on this thing. It's free to attend. It's a way to like, hey, everyone, look at Pokemon in this new light and remember the brand and go buy your Pikachu merch. Like, there's obviously that level of it, but also it's just really cool because it was through the lens of like half a dozen, maybe a little more, different artists who specialize in kogi, which is Japanese craft art. So there are things that were ceramic, there were things that were like textile, like lace. They had these 900 ropes that were hanging from the ceiling, like these lace ropes or lace strings, I guess, and in them were like hidden little Pikachus that were like cut out and put in it. So from a distance, just looked like some ropes hanging down, but when you got up close, you could see a couple different Pikachus in different poses. It had like the ceramics were either, there's a mix of like some were painted with Pokemon art on them. Some had like some really detailed patterns where you really look closely to see what Pokemon were in them. There are over 500, I believe, Pokemon on one vase alone that you could try to identify. And then some like had like Pokemon kind of melded in them. So there's like this like pot that the ceramic pot that had like a Charizard sort of coming out of it. It was really cool because it's like a way to see a different culture's art that maybe I wouldn't pay much attention to, but Pokemon kind of got me there looking at it. Like there were like fabrics and kimonos and I don't know what else. There was like statues made. They had like the Eevee evolutions made of like put together with like copper and other materials, and it was a really cool exhibit. And it's free, so if anyone listening is in LA between now and January, I'd say it's worth checking out. You won't take long there. I mean, Angel, how long did we spend? Like 20, 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Yeah, and that's because I was taking a million photos. But yeah, no, it's a cool little thing. Like, if you happen to be in Hollywood anyway as a tourist, like, definitely, if you're a fan of Pokemon, check it out just for the novelty of it all, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I see also. Do you remember seeing movies? You don't remember music. You don't remember art exhibits. Do you remember movies, Angel?
Nothing animated, that's for sure.
Okay. Do you remember live action? Do you remember maybe a murder mystery set in an Italian city? Perhaps it was a haunting
in
of
Venice?
someone who died in a canal-based city like Venice, California. Yes. No, in Venice, Italy. Does this ring any bells?
Guess not. But
That's weird because you were sitting next to me at the movie, but okay.
Yeah, let's talk about A Haunting in Venice, the Tina Fey joint, right?
Yeah, her post 30 Rock work. Yes, minus everything else she's done since 30 Rock.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead.
Well, it was
Did
fun.
you guys see this together?
Yeah, we went with a coworker of his randomly.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it was late one evening. We went and saw Haunting in Venice, and yeah, it was fun. It was a fun little movie. I did not know what to expect from it. I honestly didn't know much about it until I think like the day of, and Jason was telling me how it's like I guess part of like a self-contained universe where these movies are kind of interconnected, but you don't really need to watch them all to get any individual one.
They're serialized, or whatever the term is. But yes, was that? Or did you want me to now fill in the gap there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they're set in this world where there's Poirot, I think, is the detective. Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, A Haunting in Venice. You may be noticing a pattern in namings of movies because they're all part of the same series. It's all the same detective. But this one, I've never seen the other ones, and I wasn't planning to see this one until Angel sort of invited me to tag along, so he's seeing it by my house. But my apartment, I should say. But yeah, it's like it was like kind of a typical murder mystery, but with a little like pseudo horror movie slant to it. Like it wasn't horror, but they tried to do a couple jump scares. They had like the creepy camera angles, a lot of dark scenes, a lot of like kind of, you know, high pitched violin, like that sort of stuff, like throughout at times. You know, it was like kind of a murder mystery in the way that Glass Onion's a murder mystery with kind of a comedy bend to it. This is kind of a murder mystery with kind of a light diet horror bend to it, I guess you could say. Would you say that's probably a safe way to describe it, Angel?
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and it was fun. But what's interesting, yeah, you mentioned it. Tina Fey's in it, and like you don't usually see her do roles that aren't comedy, like straight up comedy. But she is playing like an associate of Poirot,
Inspector
who has
Clouseau.
history with him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the movie was definitely, it leaned more on the comedy side than I expected. I thought it was going to be more of a serious, I guess, a serious affair, but no, it ended
it's
up
like
being,
like Tina Fey's still doing a comedic role. Yeah.
yeah, it was very much still done pretty lightly, and you know, it was
But
fun.
it's not like slapstick. It's like humorous, but it's not like comedy. Like it's somewhere between. It's like light heart. It's like light horror. I don't know how to say it. It's an interesting blend of genres, but yeah, it was pretty fun. What was interesting about it is they went really crazy. I don't know if this is a staple of the franchise, if they're doing a horror movie homage or what, but there's some very interesting cinematography choices in this movie. A lot of unusual camera angles, a lot of like kind of sideways things, angled things that were kind of like spinning slowly. Like there's a lot of camera angles that don't typically occur in movies like this, I feel like, in like murder mysteries. So I thought that was kind of interesting that the director was having a little fun with it and doing some, like, honestly, like visually, it was a very interesting movie. I wouldn't say it was like necessarily that all the camera angles worked or made sense, but it was interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It's also funny if anyone out there watches, or sorry, what were you going to say?
I would say there was even a cockatoo. Not a cockatiel.
Yes,
but a cockatoo.
indeed. One that is plot relevant, in fact, without revealing too much. But yeah, one thing about Tina Fey I thought was kind of funny is, so I don't know, you guys don't watch Only Murders in the Building, do you?
We don't watch what? Oh,
Only
no,
Murders
but it is
in the
on my
Building?
list.
It's good. I just finished season 3, actually. Actually, right when we were going to record, I tweeted out about season 3. But no, the thing that's funny about A Haunting in Venice is she's playing sort of an old-timey version, like a period piece version of her character on Only Murders. So in season 2 of Only Murders, Tina Fey, not really spoiler or anything, she plays kind of this like entrepreneurial like podcaster who wants to like get in on like the murder podcast thing, and kind of, you know, kind of works with and against the main characters. And in Haunted in Venice, you find out very early in the movie that she's, you know, kind of this book author who sort of like made Poirot famous because she wrote like a fictionalized version of his life and like made murder mysteries kind of inspired by him, and like the parallels of the characters between the two and the kind of attitudes of the characters. It's funny. It's literally like contemporary Tina Fey murder mystery character, and then same traits, period piece murder mystery Tina Fey character. But yeah, Only Murders though is pretty good. Yeah. One interesting thing about Only Murders that might surprise you as you watch it, the guest star list is nuts. I don't know how they get some of the people they get on that show. Like every season they keep getting bigger and bigger names or people who don't expect, and again, this isn't at all a spoiler because it's in all the promos. So Meryl Streep is on season 3. She never does TV shows, but she's like a recurring character on season 3.
Streep. Why does that name ring a bell?
She's considered like,
She's considered the Meryl Streep of actresses.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but she's on. Paul Rudd's on season 3. Yeah, it's quite a I don't know if Steve Martin and Martin Short have good connections or what, but like the thing that always catches me off guard is just the caliber of the star power on that show, given that it's like, you know, a Hulu murder mystery show.
Does Paul Rudd play a better character than he does in Parks and Recreation?
He, in a way, he has more depth in the character. So, yes, in a way. I'm trying not to say too much.
Interesting. Okay.
He's more of a rounded person in
Gotcha.
Only Murders versus a one note. Yeah. Although I do like him in Parks, as silly as the role is.
Bobby Newport.
Yep. But yeah, so I guess that was Haunting in Venice. Angel, any final thoughts on Haunting in Venice?
No, I guess outside of the fact that I wouldn't be opposed to checking out the other ones, but
I think I'd be open to it too. Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
I think the other ones play it way more straight than this movie.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This one was them branching out, so to speak. So they got a little, they had the confidence of the first two doing well enough that they can now experiment a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see.
So, yeah. But, all right. Well, unless there's anything else on our little handy-dandy topic list, of which, if anyone wanted, well, there's no point in me telling you at the end of the episode, but we do list the timestamps for these on the randomtown.com if anyone ever wants to check. But, yeah, there's nothing else on the list. So I think that might just about do it, guys.
Already? Damn.
So,
Yeah.
with that said, I will toss it to me so I could do the closing show notes. Big changes in our show notes. Stitcher is gone, and Google Podcasts is shutting down. So the usual rigmarole that I go through isn't accurate anymore. So instead, I need to tell you to find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Pandora, and YouTube. Both YouTube at our channel at Random Nintendo and YouTube Music, the service, which will soon have podcasts within it.
Jesus Christ.
So there you go. And that's why Google Music's shutting down. But yes, you can find us there. You can find us on what I will always call Twitter at Random Nintendo. You can find us individually on the internet. I am at JSR7 on said always called Twitter and over at Threads where I post the exact same thing I post on Twitter. You can find Kevin at, well, where do you want to be plugged these days, Kevin? Your Kavian Gomi Twitter or Threads or what you want?
Kavian Gomi on Twitter.
All right, there you go. And I know for Angel, we have a big explainer for his now every time. So Angel posts his thoughts in visual form at World of Weros with an S at the end on Instagram, where you can see what he thinks of things, but through your eyes. Wait, I guess you see it through your eyes whether you read it or visualize it, but you get what I mean. That's a horrible pitch. Angel, would you like to pitch yourself better than I did? Okay, great. All right, so with that, we'll be back when we're back, hopefully in 2 weeks, maybe a little longer. We will let you guys, you'll see us in your feed when you see us, but in the meantime, Kevin, final word?
Oh, crap, I wasn't ready for this.